Welcome to Vulpro. Vultures are the fastest declining bird species globally. Africa is facing an African vulture crisis. Some species have declined up to 97% in the last 30 years. And because of this, rehabilitation is a core focus of Vulpro. We are saving the survivors and giving every single grounded, injured or disabled individual a second chance. If we cannot release them back into the wild, we house them permanently for our other conservation projects. Our rehab program is really putting back what is lost, and it is making huge headways by enabling us to release about 63% back into the wild. We allow individuals that cannot be released to behave as naturally as possible in captivity. They select their own mates and are able to breed. We help manage and nurture the breeding process, and the offspring are released back into the wild. This is what we call population supplementation, as we put back into the wild what would have been lost without our intervention. Everything Vulpro does has a research element to it, and this is what gives us the edge over many other organizations. We are always monitoring, evaluating and analyzing our work to find ways of improving our techniques, in order to put more birds back into nature. The pertinent threats vultures face are power line electrocutions and collisions. 90% of the birds kept here are due to power line collisions. And though these birds haven't died from the negative interaction, some have broken wings, broken legs, broken collarbones, and cannot be released. Electrocutions often result in immediate death. Some do miraculously survive and can be released, if there aren't permanent injuries. Throughout Africa, poisoning is rife. The main issue with poisoning is that instead of one or two individuals being killed, as in the case of power lines, poisoning can wipe out entire colonies of sometimes over 600 vultures at one time. The biggest threat Africa, and definitely South Africa, is facing is vultures being killed and used for belief-based purposes. They are killed for their brains, their skulls, their feet, and for their supposed clairvoyant powers. People believe that they can sniff the brain of a vulture and dream up the lotto numbers or win in horse or card gambling, and this major threat is what we are experiencing on a daily basis. At Vulpro, our birds are kept in as natural an environment as we possibly can provide for bird breeding purposes, with birds that are permanently disabled. We try and give them an environment that simulates their natural environment, with our large enclosures. Because we have so many non-releasable birds, they are housed in large groups and in numbers that they would naturally be found in. They select their own mates, go into their natural breeding behavior, and we manage the process. Sometimes we will artificially incubate an egg in order to safeguard it from rolling off the nest or from being damaged by the squabbling that takes place among adults. Once the egg has reached 54 days, it will start hatching and we will assist the hatching when needed. We will keep the chick for the first 3 days and then give it back to its parents, who will have to do all the raising themselves. This is important because we want parent-raised chicks. We want the chicks to imprint on vultures in a semi-natural environment with no human involvement, or any human imprinting. Because these birds do need to be released, with the ability to survive. There's an extensive veterinary element to all the work that we do. From understanding what happens in the wild, to the rehab, and the capture breeding side of things. Every year we catch over 300 vultures and do individual health checks. With having over 50 birds in an enclosure, it is very difficult to assess how each one is doing, without having them in hand. So once a year we take them in hand to look at their body condition, listen to their heart rates, to look at their feet and treat any wounds or injuries. We look at the disabled bird's past injuries and we look at the stumps of any amputated wings. The idea is to give them a full bill of health. For rehabilitation, we have a state-of-the-art hospital, which took 10 years in the making, and it enables Vulpro to be self-sufficient and do as much treatment as we possibly can on the premises. We partner with the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Veterinary Science Wildlife Unit. And although the vets come in here and assist us, when we get birds in after hours or on the weekends, we are able to do treatments and to carry out x-rays, and send them to our vets for advice or assistance. We are also able to do a lot of the blood and lab work in-house, in order to look for infections and other ailments our rescues may be suffering from. Vets are able to come and do surgery here, which minimizes the stress on the birds who arrive at Vulpro after sometimes having traveled over 700 kilometers to get here. Releases are part of the rehab process at Vulpro, and we are able to monitor when the birds are ready for release. Our very large enclosures, with high perches, allow us to monitor their flight from one high perches to the next, in order to make sure that the birds are able to fly. We also make sure that young birds are able to eat off carcasses and squabble to defend their food. We deal with birds of different ages. Some birds are strong and others weak, and we need to make sure that they are all able to fend for themselves and survive once released. This is the process we use to determine when our releasable birds are ready to put back into the wild. We take them to various release sites that are safe. We like choosing sites that have existing local wild colonies and where wild breeding is taking place, as this will keep the birds at the sites. We do not do hard releases, where we go to an area and open up crates, where the birds have to fly further than what they naturally would. We do soft releases, where we know it's safe, and where we know that there are other birds around, in areas where these birds generally come from. You can get involved by firstly appreciating vultures and by spreading the word. By nurturing, loving and understanding the species and having compassion for them. It's incredibly difficult to preach on behalf of, and protecting a species that is unloved. Vultures are incredibly important to the environment, and it is very difficult to get people involved in conserving these birds and supporting our work, if there is no emotional connection to them. We really do need vultures, and losing them would be catastrophic for our environment, and the ecosystem, so we need financial support on a corporate and individual level. Come and volunteer. Be part of the change, and participate. Help us collect injured birds, and release them. You can help us cut the grass and do maintenance on the enclosures. Managing a facility of this magnitude takes a lot of work. You can also participate in field work, tree nesting surveys and colony monitoring. You also have the opportunity of adopting a bird and having a stake, and an emotional connection to your adopted bird. You'll get naming rights and you are able to visit your bird. We will give you updates and send you newsletters and create a relationship between you, your adopted bird, and Vulpro. You can also leave a lasting legacy by leaving a little bit of your estate to Vulpro. And when you are not here anymore, you will be contributing to the survival of vultures long term, and making a lasting impact.